Yeah, God has pleasure in the prosperity, so he must have displeasure in the poverty. So if he does, then poverty couldn't be from God. Yeah, but Brother Price, God allows it. God lets it happen. You're right, he does. He does because you do. He can't do anything about it. Those are the words of Frederick Price on his ever-increasing faith program on TBN in 1992. Frederick Price, centered in Los Angeles, earned national acclaim as an authority on race and poverty. His message to Black America promised spiritual empowerment and debt reduction, a message that spoke directly to people's needs. Price first reached Black audiences across America in 1978 when he bought airtime in 4 of the largest Black urban populations: Washington, D.C., Detroit, Chicago, and New York City, and his ministry began to flourish. Newcomers overflowed his 1,400-seat facility, and by 1981, the church acquired Pepperdine University's downtown campus for $14 million. Price, with his unique style, broke the mold of 1980s televangelism. He taught for an entire hour without musical flourishes or even appeals for money. And Price's strategy paid off. In 1986, Price's 10,000-seat worship facility, what he called the Faith Dome, became the new home of the ever-increasing Faith TV program and its millions of viewers. In 1982, Price began conferences that mirrored popular evangelistic crusades. Price published more than 50 titles, totaling more than 2 million copies sold since 1976. He founded the Fellowship of Inner-City Word of Faith Ministries in 1990, which is a parachurch organization that sought to support urban ministries, a network that included more than 300 pastors and 150,000 parishioners across 35 states. Now, Fred Price's ministry, it also attempted to unite races, combating the common racial divide in American Protestantism. Price's ministry created an alliance of diverse preachers, facilitating a high degree of racial cooperation at conferences and at home without surrendering a pulpit to another's lasting control. Considering broader issues of race in Christian subcultures, Price appeared to be the darling of the prosperity world. Price was the protege of Kenneth Hagin, who promoted him among the largely white Word of Faith network. Price was even quoted as saying, "I am Brother Hagin's black child." Now, that all leads to a question that I'd like you to answer in this week's response. How might Frederick Price and other prosperity preachers explain the origin of racial categories? And how might they explain racial division? Let me repeat that. How might Frederick Price and other prosperity preachers explain the origins of racial categories or racial division? So while they were united in their prosperity teaching, Price and Hagin's relationship soured. Hagin's son preached a sermon that condemned interracial dating and marriage. Price felt that the Hagin family not only failed to speak out against racism, but in many ways emboldened racism in predominantly white Christian circles. And so in response, Price produced a television and book series on race, religion, and racism. And this series challenged white leadership to repent of their inaction, repent of their injustice, and described his faith theology as the consummation of Christian liberation in face of the racism that thrived in America with the church's permission. So for Price, Black Christians had been denied their God-given power to determine their own destinies: holiness, wisdom, and increase. Price then believed that the solution to social injustice, the solution to structural racism, lay in a highly individualistic gospel that held the promises of health, wealth, and victory. Well, let's go ahead and dive on into this week's source and let's discuss.